Welcome to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are on KCAA 1050 AM all over Southern California. If you miss us on the radio, don't forget to catch us on our streaming. We are on Roku. We are on Amazon Fire. We are on the Android, on the Building Solid Foundations channel. That's a free channel. Not just our show. A lot of great shows are on there, including Real Men of Real Estate, Fabulous Lifestyle, Finest Women in Real Estate, Fire Up Connect, a lot of really great shows. Speaking of Real Men of Real Estate, my guest today, he's one of the hosts of Real Men of Real Estate. He is on the first week of the month. His name is Damon Hart. You can call him Mr. Foxy. That's how he's known. Damon Hart is a real estate investing rock star. He was born in the gorgeous island of St. Thomas in the Caribbean, where his parents worked for the United States Postal Service and taught him the value of hard work and perseverance. We're going to go through more of your background as we talk, but Damon, welcome to Building Solid Foundations.
Yeah. Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you. Now, for some of our listeners may know if they've listened to the shows on KCAA for a while, some of my stuff, that I, at one time, was one of the hosts of Real Men of Real Estate before I started doing this permanently full time. So familiar with that show, love the format of it. And of course, I always love talking about real estate.
I mean, it's kind of what you do, isn't it?
Exactly. It is. It is. And so you are a real estate pro as well. So what sector of real estate are you in?
Primarily, I've always done and still still am always in residential. That's kind of where I cut my teeth, and it just feels familiar. It's cool. I love it. Always new people to interact with, and that's where I pretty much do most of what we do now.
There's something fulfilling about helping people find their home, where their family will have its roots, will have its memories, the children are raised. I think that's a very fulfilling thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and and I think when you get to kind of like the larger parts of even like commercial real estate, you just don't have that connection because it's more of a transaction. I enjoy talking with sellers, buyers, people that are direct to it, and it's not so much about the emotional part of the part of the transaction. It's also just the problem solving. I like it when we're able to put together solutions that are practical and everybody feels like, okay, that was the best thing that could happen.
Right, and people are so happy when they get that home, the home they really wanted. And it's got the features they wanted, and it's sometimes, what they'd only dreamed of. And it's great to be a part of that.
Oh, yeah.
I just love it. Now, so obviously I'm in a sector of the industry that's very much the opposite of that. It's spreadsheet driven.
Yep.
There's very little, I wouldn't say there's no emotion, because there are projects I've had that I've liked. Emotionally, I've wanted to do the project. But the fact is, if it doesn't pencil, it don't pencil. And I don't care how much you like it, you're not going to do the project. Wherein the residential side is very much driven by emotion. People do not, they say they make logical decisions on their home buying, but they really don't. They're buying the master bedroom of their dreams. They're buying the kitchen that is awesome. They're buying the school district. They're buying the local community. They're buying the backyard. And there's nothing wrong with that, because this is somebody's house. This is their, so I always said your primary residence, it is in fact a real estate investment, but it really shouldn't be that first and foremost. It should be your home. It's where you want to live. It's where you get, first and foremost. And if you lived there, and when all was said and done, you didn't make any money on the place if you sold it, but you had a wonderful, time over decades raising your family and building the family unit and the memories there, that was well worth it on its own.
Yeah, I mean, face it, right? You have to live somewhere at the end of the day, right? So you could rent, or you can invest in owning something for yourself. But I agree with you. I think it's definitely a little bit more emotional because it's the place where you're gonna raise your family, or you're gonna stay. But I'm seeing now that, in this market also too, like people are being a little bit more cautious because the concern is, hey, things might change a little bit, which happens in every cycle, right?
Well, you don't want to be the person that bought the home right before all the prices went down and you could have got it a year later for 100%. Less money.
Everybody wants a sale.
But on the other hand, you can make the decision not to and find out a year later everything went up. Now that's happened over the last, so since 2017, almost every year I've heard the same people talking about how next year the market's going to go down. And there's people who've been sitting on the sideline ever since, and every year it keeps going up, and it keeps going up, and it keeps going up. And even now, according to late last year, the whole thing was supposed to tank, and it hasn't. Now, it hasn't been continuing to go up like it was, but there's still no inventory out there.
Correct.
There's still a supply problem. And as long as there's a supply problem, you're not going to see prices drop, at least not by very much.
Right.
You know,
I'd agree.
that's an issue. So on your end, doing residential, that's got to be one of the challenges you're facing right now is what do you do with the lack of inventory?
Well, when you say what do I do as the buyer?
Well, yeah, because you have clients coming to you, they want to buy homes.
Yeah.
And you say there's just not a lot out there to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think what we're able to do that allows us to kind of jump over that hurdle is we have to go direct to the sellers, right? Because if you wait for opportunities to present themselves on the market, it's going to be slow. We go market directly to sellers, and then we're able to generate more opportunities to talk to people and say, hey, what would it take for us to get, for us to purchase your home? And I found, that's really the only way to really make something happen over and over again, that you can do it at scale.
Yeah.
That's just been my experience.
Yeah, I feel sorry for a lot of the kind of buyers out there right now who are dealing with a market where there's very little inventory. There's interest rates are pushing them out of qualification to some degree, for some, not all. And they're competing against cash buyers. There's a lot of the investor types out there that are buying things for cash, and it's hard to compete with that when you've got to go get qualified and get loans and get appraisals and those kind of things, because the seller is like, yeah, but you're going to close in a week and you're going to close in a month and a half. I think I'll go with the guy with the week who's got cash. And it really creates a challenge for them. And so you as an agent then have to I think that's why people need an agent. They need someone that can advocate for them.
Yeah. So, with us here in California, on the brokerage side, I'm not an agent myself, but our brokerage, we have a brokerage that helps folks with that sort of thing. And yeah, they experience that because it's a lot of times it's more, like, okay, what can we find here on the market? The way that we kind of bridge that gap is we're always out talking with individuals that own homes and seeing what we can do to create an opportunity to purchase. And that'll look like, just kind of reaching out to someone either through an ad or a direct mail piece or something like that to get their interest. And then we can go back to them and say, okay, well, look, we'd like to buy it as one of those same cash buyers that you talked about. And if we can't buy it as a cash buyer, then what we're going to default to is just saying, well, look, if you don't like what we have to offer, what we can do on the other side is let's take it to market with one of our agents and see how that will work for you. And most people are really receptive to that.
Yeah, and if you can get them before it's on the market, then you have a chance of getting your clients in front of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you're talking about. It's a lot of work, and I think a lot of people understand how much work goes into finding places when nobody told you they're for sale.
Oh sure.
Because at that point, the owner's just thinking about selling.
Yep.
But you don't know that unless you go talk to them.
Exactly. And that's the art, right? I'm glad you said that because that's the art of the real estate business. I feel like years ago, right, if you were just a regular real estate agent, you were tied into your community, so everybody kind of knew everyone. And if Betty was getting ready to sell, Betty and Joe, that local agent was the one that was going to help them. Now everything is so... you don't have to live in the neighborhood to get a listing somewhere else. So I think that's changed in the market. And what that's caused is people feel like, hey, I can, especially with like Zillow and other tech companies coming into the space, they feel like I could kind of do it myself. But I think there is still something to be said about having a person work on your side. If you don't do it every day, obviously you know your house better than anyone, but if you want to get like the best eyes on it and the best interaction, I think you have to go with a person that does it regularly.
Well, the Zillows and the Redfins out there, one reason they're struggling is because they weren't local. Yeah. They didn't know the local market. They overpaid, right? Dramatically, which means that the people that are buying from them are overpaying as well, right? So that's what happens, right? And that's where they got into some trouble because they were distant. They didn't understand what the real value of the home in that little market, because real estate isn't just a market; it's a micro market.
Always.
So here in San Diego County,
I know what you mean.
There is not even within a zip code, you could have multiple micro markets.
For sure.
Of different, and this is stronger than this one, and if you don't know it, you could pay too much, or you could be so non-competitive you'll never get a chance at buying something.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that's, that's one of the things in modern, I guess called modern real estate, right? That everybody has to face. And you mentioned the big buyers. When we think about those big buyers, we're talking institutional money.
That's right.
We're not just talking about, some guy that wants to buy
Those are
five
REITs.
houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are people that raised money for a specific purpose to buy properties and hold them. So their entry strategy is going to be different. But I still think, with those larger buyers, there's still a little bit of a nuance where buyers, local buyers, can still participate. And that's kind of what we preach. It's like, get with someone like us on the investment side. We specialize in only markets that we know.
That's right.
And then we can show you like how you can really be competitive and use the skills that we have and the ability we have to get into that market.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the real estate is so many facets to it, and it's not just the categories and the types of real estate and the geography of the real estate. Different clients are different profiles,
Yep.
and there's a lot to know. And you really, like any other business, you say, okay, well, so real estate, that's this niche industry over here, but no, within that niche industry, there's 1,000 niches. And I was last week's guest was commercial, and commercial real estate is a whole different animal as well too. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Damon Hart, also known as Mr. Foxy. He is a real estate expert, and we are going to continue our discussion right after this on building solid foundations right here on KCAA. Don't go anywhere.
Tired of qualifying your leads and not getting the right clients for you? Join the finest women in real estate and learn how to attract the best clients and increase your referral network. Call now at 951-378-5316. 951-378-5316 and become one of the finest women in real estate.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the real men of real estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m. live, every Sunday. Okay, we're going to be on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. You know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. This is Steve Matley. We are talking today with Damon Hart, also known as Mr. Foxy. He is a hardworking, savvy investor in real estate that proves with persistence and determination you can accomplish amazing things. I love the positivity and the attitude behind that. And obviously, I'm in a very different part of the real estate industry, but I love all parts of real estate. I'm one of those people that loves the game. I really do. I enjoy it. It's been good to me, and I like that it's not just about making money. Every way you make money is helping people do something. Food, shelter, clothing, the three biggest things, right? We can help
100%.
people provide shelter for their home, shelter for their business, shelter for their school, shelter for their entertainment, shelter for whatever. That's an important thing. So, okay, so how did you get into real estate? What brought you into this crazy business?
Yeah, that's it was really easy for me. I think. I mean, I went to college, and after college, I was an accounting major. Okay,
So I thought about being an accountant.
right.
When I was in junior college, I thought about being an accountant. I was really good at it, and I decided if I did this every day for the rest of my life, I would have to slit my wrist.
Okay.
No knock on accountants. I appreciate you. That's why I hire you to do the work because, like I say, even if you're good at something, it's just not me.
Right.
I can't do it.
So
So you're not an accountant anymore.
No, so I guess we followed the same path somewhat, right? I mean, I was an accounting major. I worked for a local bank, community bank at the time, kind of get my experience. And then what I realized very, very quickly is that I can't see myself doing this. My boss was no offense, but my boss was like bald at like 35.
Sitting at a desk
You
all
know,
day, yeah.
everybody else in the department that was male was also bald. So I said, this is my future. I'm just going to be super bald at 35.
Now, does accounting make you bald, or does being bald make you want to be an accountant?
I venture to think it's probably accounting makes you bald. That's what I would think.
See,
Maybe
so I
the
started
stress.
losing my hair in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I know what happened there. God looked down and said, you can't be this charming, this good looking, this intelligent, and have a full head of hair too. We got to balance the
We gotta
scales. And
do
he took my hair
something.
away.
Yeah.
He also said something about me being so humble too. I think that was in there too.
I could see that.
Yeah. And obviously it looked like they kind of made the same call on your noggin too, right? So,
Yeah, it's diminishing. He's taking stuff away for sure, right?
Exactly.
But like, yeah, I mean, for me, after college, it was as simple as, all right, now what do I want to do? And I always had an interest in real estate. You know, I would tell people I grew up in the 80s. And at the time, Donald Trump was one of the biggest figures
Oh,
in the
the
80s.
books and the board games and the everything. Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
right? And who didn't play Monopoly growing up? So once I got out of college and I started looking around and working at the bank, I saw money being made on mortgages because I was in the accounting department, right? I saw money being made on mortgages, deposits, CDs, everything kind of revolved around banking, car loans.
yeah.
It was all relative to finance, and a lot of it, most of the money was made on real estate.
Yeah.
So I said, wow, it piqued some interest. And then what happened is I went to an event. It was a real estate event. I was living in New Jersey at the time, and it was down in Maryland. And I went down to this event, and there was a room of probably folks in there. I was in my early 20s, or everybody there was in their 40s and 50s. And they all wanted to get into real estate. And I said, okay, well, I want to get into real estate too. Let's see what this is all about. And I just heard person after person. There were a bunch of presenters that would come up and they would say, one after another, here's what I did. Here's a different strategy. Here's a different strategy. There's so many different ways to do it. And I said, well, shoot, I know I can pick one of them and figure it out. So I did. I picked one strategy called wholesaling, where you didn't have to have any money, any credit, any of that stuff. And I was like, okay, I don't have any of that. Perfect. And I just started to do it.
Yeah, wholesaling is a great way to get in real estate if you don't have a lot of knowledge and you don't have a lot of connections and you don't have a lot of money. Because everybody says, I don't have any of that stuff. How do I get started?
Sure.
And wholesaling, if you have enough time, enough perseverance, and the wherewithal to make a lot of calls and get turned down a lot and knock on doors and meet people and that kind of stuff, you can make money doing wholesaling.
Yeah. And wholesaling from then to now has evolved a tremendous amount, right? But what I'll tell you is I think real estate and a lot of other businesses, not just real estate, it has evolved tremendously. There's really now in 2023, I don't think there's any reason why anybody can't be successful in any business except for they just get confused.
Well, I see a couple things. One, lack of information is a big problem. Okay, so lack of information partially can be solved by educating yourself. But sometimes if you don't know enough to know who to ask or where to go, you can't even do that. So there's a problem. So there's that issue.
Okay.
The other is lack of perseverance because people give up too soon. I see a lot of people get into this and they have this idea. Real estate is a thing I can get into, or I don't need special. I mean, you may need a license doing certain things, but other things you
Right.
don't. You don't need special degrees. like advanced degrees and that kind of stuff. You don't
Sure.
need that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I can get into this and people make a lot of money doing it.
Yep.
Well, some do, some don't.
Right.
So they get into that, and then it's when it doesn't come through quickly, that, oh, gee, I've been in this a year and I haven't really made any money. This must not be working out. And they leave. And they don't realize, no, you're going to spend the first year building up your structure, your system, and figuring out what you're doing and getting the basics. You're going to spend the next year building up your contact base and getting out there, and everybody's going to find out who you are, what you are, why you exist, and how you can help them. And then all that work that you've been putting in, you've been pumping that pump all that time, and all of a sudden, somewhere in the third, fourth year, all this water is going to start coming out, and it's going to start exponentially increasing. But you can't walk away too soon.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. And then when I kind of bundle everything together in that whole confusion, because I think it's a shiny object, right? They get in and the expectations are super high. And what happens, because we're in the information age, is there's so much information coming at
Overload.
Yeah. It's like and
it's conflicting.
Exactly. So hence the confusion, right? So what happens is now I'm not sure, I'm second guessing myself, and then I start taking less action towards what was probably going to work, and I don't have the same results because my actions aren't consistent, and before you know it, you're out of the business.
So here's my I guess remedy for that, my suggestion for that, and it's what I did. I have two partners in my business. They are both older than me, and they are both smarter than me. So always align yourself with people who are older than you and smarter than you. And if they have a successful track record, that means that they have somehow found something that works over time. And they've probably made a lot of mistakes in the process.
100%.
But you get to benefit from that because they won't let you make the mistake if you're working with them. So because another thing with real estate tends to be a very solopreneur sort of a thing, and everyone wants to do it myself. That's great, but you kind of can't. Because you don't know everything. You don't have everything. You don't have all the connections. You need to work with other people. You need to get out there and make connections. Go to real estate investor club meetings. Go to real estate association meetings. Go to, meet people, talk to people, social media, all that kind of stuff. And then what you'll find is these are people, I want to be like them someday. So then figure out, to be like them, I should probably work with them. How? And then figure out, what can I bring to their party?
Well, 100%. That's great.
I can't show up with my hand out.
Yep.
But what I can show up with is I can show up ready to serve with something. And I say, so can I go help you find properties? Can I help you find people with money? I don't have money, but maybe I can talk to people. And if I find somebody with money, I can send them to you, right? Right. Can I help you find a buyer? Can I help you find something? And if I can help you with something, would you then work with me and help mentor me along? And most people will say, hey, if you want to show up with a work ethic, you can be part of this deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what you're pointing to is just something that I don't think we hear enough about in the entrepreneurial space. Like I don't know. I have a 17-year-old son, right? And he started his own business, and I've kind of all maybe his middle school years and all that, I always encouraged him to be a business owner, because I truly believe that's the way that you're going to access a lot of greatness here in the United States, right? But I also think too, there's a lot of, again, conflicting information that really sells the dream that this thing is going to be easy and it's going to be fast. It's something that you can take on as, like you said, as an individual. You can just boss up and do it. Those things are just all catchphrases to get you excited. It's, it's kind of like, it's all, what do you call it? Inspiration versus
it's motivational speaking, which is, and the thing is, when you find out is when you get, my daughter made a joke once, she owns her own business. She does marketing and PR and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And she said, I'm in this world where all these women that I'm around, they're the entrepreneurial women who did it all by themselves. And she goes, I'm finding out they all have husbands that make $300,000 a year. So they didn't have to worry about paying the mortgage and paying the rent and building a business too. Said nobody does it by themselves.
100%.
The self-made person didn't really do it by themselves. So there's a lot of people to help them.
100%.
Yeah, and so once we understand that, then you get away from the fallacies. And those sound great on the stage when you're talking or when you're trying to sell your program. But the fact is, you need help. And so one way to get educated is to work with other people that already know.
100%. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And I saw it even in my progress, right? When I started to invest in relationships with mentors or getting in front of other people that have more experience and helped me, that's when my business took off. You know, before then I was kind of sitting in a cave by myself.
Yeah.
And I struggled.
One thing I learned is when I worked by myself, I couldn't learn anything more than what I already knew. Because I was the smartest guy there because I'm the only guy there. Well, how are you going to learn something that you don't already know?
Yep.
So you start working with other people. So my partners have taught me a lot of stuff. So I have an MBA. I worked in construction management. I did all these different things. I worked in other industries too. Everything I know about what I'm doing right now, I basically learned with one of my business partners who've been doing it for years. So we're going to take another short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you. I want to find out, what is a Foxy home buyer? You're going to answer that question when we come back from this break. I'm talking today with Damon Hart, Mr. Foxy. He is a real estate expert. We are on Building Solid Foundations on KCAA. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections. Hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Hello everyone, I am Lynette LaRoche here at Fabulous Lifestyles Foundations Radio Show. So excited to have you here with us. We have so much to offer you, and we have amazing guests that we bring on every Sunday. So we want to make sure that you tune in on KCAA Broadcasting Network, because remember, this is all about having a fabulous lifestyle, and it can be yours to be had. So tune in every Sunday to Fabulous Lifestyle Foundation Radio. And we also have other radio shows that will be of interest to you as well in fashion, fun, and finance. I am Lynette LaRoche, and remember, you need to build a house before you can bring in the furniture.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are talking today with Damon Hart, also known as Mr. Foxy. He is the Foxy home buyer, and we are talking about residential real estate, and he is an expert in wholesaling, actually. If you want to get hold of Damon and talk to him, ask him questions, pick his brain, find out what he's talking about. If you say, okay, you mentioned something about homes wholesaling, talk me through it, go to 813-413-7929, 813-413-7929, or you can get him at Damon at foxyhomebuyer.com. Damon at foxyhomebuyer.com. His website is foxyhomebuyer.com. You can start his cyber stalking there to see if you want to talk to him and what he's all about. That's a great thing about websites. It gives people a place to start to figure things out and do a little research before they talk to you. All right, so Damon, let's get into what is a Foxy home buyer?
Well, the company started just being that we were just doing things a little bit different. Everybody in the space at that time was all about just cash, 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 cash. And what we realized is sometimes cash is not the best solution for every single approach. In commercial real estate, you realize this because a lot of times you come to a seller, they're really familiar in the commercial space on how terms offers work or some kind of different kind of financing.
Terms are where it's at.
Yeah.
I will pay somebody more than what the current market value is if I can get the terms I want.
Exactly.
As long as it's reasonable and it pencils.
Exactly.
Terms, yes.
Right. So that's something that we saw. And for anyone that's listening, it's like terms is really just a way for the seller to help you with the financing and carrying some of the financing, taking payments, that sort of thing.
Well, some is just time.
Yeah.
So for what we do, we're doing entitlement processing. If I can do the entitlements while it's in escrow, so I can get a 2-year escrow, I don't have to close on the front end.
Exactly.
Right. So now my cash flow, I didn't raise enough capital to take the land down. I just needed to raise enough to do the process, and then I can close and sell it, ready to go.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's enormous. That creates a leverage that it creates the ROIs, right?
Yep.
That's a huge deal. Or if I can get the owner to carry something back. Okay, I'm going to come a small amount. You carry back. I still didn't have to come out of pocket with, say, $5 million for the land. All I needed was a couple $100,000 to do the deal and then go through the process.
Yeah.
So for $500,000 instead of $4.5 million, I got the same profit.
Exactly.
So
yeah. So it's similar on the residential side. Only the concept, the idea of just kind of introducing that to sellers and just saying, look, why don't we just pause for a second? We were trying to get to X, but we can't get there the way that you want to get there because of these factors. What if we looked at it this way? And kind of back into it and see, hey, is there room for us to give us a little bit more time? And that way it ends up being more advantageous to the seller and also, to the buyer too, because it has to make sense for both people or else they're not going to do it.
And most people out there, they want to sell something, or if they want to buy something, they don't know there's options. All they know is there's a price, and then there's an offer, and then we accept it, and there's cash that changes hands, and that's all we know.
100%.
And they don't know that, no, there's about 40 different negotiable terms you can get into to make life easier. And as long, our saying is when we structure deals, as long as it's not illegal or immoral, we can consider it.
Yeah.
We'll look at it. If that works for you, if there's something we've never heard of, but that works and there's nothing wrong with it, why wouldn't we do that if we could? Because now we solved your problem, you solved our problem.
Exactly. And that's what a transaction is, isn't it? Like at the end of the day, that's what everybody's after. They're just looking to make sure that it's fair for them and fair for you, and that they can, at the end, they're getting some, maybe not everything they want, but they're getting something.
Yeah.
And the most important things will get you over the hump. So I think that's the big thing. So that's what a Foxy home buyer is, somebody that came in. We do this as a company, and we'll come in and look at an opportunity to purchase, and we'll look at it a few different options as opposed to just cash.
Yeah, and the other thing I look at is I get, because I came out of construction world, and construction world, everything is lowest bid, right? Lowest bid.
100%.
But outside of there, in the general world, people have that same mentality.
Yeah.
If it's everything's about if I can get the lowest price. No, there's a lot of there's quality and there's convenience and there's time and there's all these other things, right?
Yeah.
So if we're looking at those things, the lowest price isn't always the best deal. My dad was a Navy pilot back in the Korean War.
Oh, cool.
And he always said they had a growing joke, and that was, how does it feel to be flying a machine built by the lowest bidder?
That's funny.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're not going to go get LASIK surgery from what's the cheapest doctor out there? That's
Sure.
who I want.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. But we have this mentality, and people, and a lot of what you're saying is it's not just about cash. It's not just about the price. there's a lot of other stuff we have to look at.
Yeah, for sure. And that process takes a little bit of education too. So we do a lot of education with our sellers, people that we interact with, because a lot of times they just don't know. They don't know that this is even an option. I think with where technology is now, people, if you say, okay, let's do it on terms or seller financing, they'll just go and Google it. So that helps. But to understand, to
But
work with
even if
someone.
they do that, you go to Google or even Chat GPT now, right?
Right.
And you
right.
put in what's seller financing. Well, it's going to give you a textbook answer of something.
For sure.
That doesn't tell you all the different options out there. The way you find out is you sit down and talk to the other person.
Yeah, that's how
So,
most
so
people
tell me
learn.
what you need. And you find out, I don't want the cash because it's going to trigger high taxes on me. What I really need is just a little bit of money now, but I'd like this to become an annuity.
Right. Cash
Well,
flow.
great. Well, let's do a kind of a, carry back, right? You put a lien on the deal and now you're the bank. You went from being the owner to the bank.
Right. And you
Now I own it, but you're the lender.
Right. And you minimize some of the
And
taxes.
so now
and
you've
all that.
spread all that out over time. And so we solved your problem. I don't have to come up with all the cash at once. That's great for me. I don't have to go get a bank loan now because you're my bank.
Right.
So people don't know that you can even do that. And financial illiteracy is just profound in our culture. It really is. And it's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, it's in my opinion, that's kind of by design, right? Because I mean, let's face it, if everyone knew everything there was, like, I think there wouldn't be anyone there would be more people at various levels, right? Or higher levels. Because knowledge is power. If you have more education, then it would make sense that you could have more access.
Keep the peasants peasants.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. So like if that's the case, not everybody can be on a higher level, but the great thing about America still is we have access. And that's what I enjoy the most about sharing with people. It's like, look, like that's great, but we still to a certain degree have access to all the information, and our structure, our government structure, our freedoms are still intact where we can go out. That's why people come here from other countries.
Right.
People will leave their country they grew up their whole life and come here just to have the opportunity to do something like that. We are blessed.
Yeah.
So it's
And the truth is, it's not as easy as it was many decades ago because there's more rules, more restrictions, more of this kind of stuff, higher taxes, blah, blah, blah. But it's still there. So maybe you've got a few more obstacles to navigate through, but you can still go do it.
Right.
And there's still plenty of money to be made. That's why you've told about California because my company, we're not doing a lot in California anymore because it's just so time consuming. But I tell people that's not because there's no money here. There is still, California is probably still the most lucrative real estate market in the country. If you have the patience, the persistence, the time to work through some of the regulations, and you're going to pay some extra taxes, and you're going to sign this and do that, and it's probably a little litigious here and there, all this kind of stuff, but it's still probably the most profitable real estate market in the country. No two ways about it.
For sure.
So you can still do it. So you say just because things aren't as easy as they used to be doesn't mean you still can't do it.
Correct. And yeah, my mom always told me like easy isn't always the best, right? Like easy. And if it's easy, everyone's doing it, and there's no opportunity in easy.
Well, then it's all competition, and then there's no differentiation, and then yeah.
No, look for the places that aren't easy. That's what I would say, and that's what I like about California here too. That's kind of why we decided to get into the brokerage space here, because we did see that there's tremendous amount. First of all, just population. There's a lot of people here. So anytime you have people, there's going to be a demand, and there's people looking for solutions for housing.
Yeah.
So
Contrary to the rumors that everybody moved out of California and went to Texas, that's not true. There's still more people here than there is in Texas. Yeah. There's a lot, and there's still a housing shortage. There's so many people here, we still have a housing shortage.
100%. You know why? Because the beaches are amazing. The mountains are amazing. And dude, I'm from Florida originally, man, and I would tell you, Florida is a fantastic state. I love Florida. But coming here in California and staying here.
It's humid compared to California, which isn't.
What, the weather?
There's bugs, which we don't have too many bugs here.
Yeah.
But the other thing about Florida is it's a little boring topographically compared to California.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I mean, you're not going to get the visuals here. Yeah. What you get.
It's a big sandbar with trees on it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I like Florida. Actually, my company's based in Florida. My partner lives on a horse ranch down there.
Okay.
In Ocala. That's where we're based out.
Ocala, sure.
And I like going there, but I kind of like coming back here, honestly.
It's definitely, you're right. Visually, it's way more appealing here. But I will tell you that, you can go out there, like I'm sure you've done it. It's just an air of kind of like freedom. That's the thing that's the word that comes to my mind. It's like nobody gives a crap what you do there in Florida.
Well, and
Do whatever you
also
want.
when you're working with public agencies there, there's a little more of a customer service attitude.
Sure.
There, here, I don't want to put anybody on a slam up. The fact is here, it's kind of like you ruin their day by showing up, right? So, right? It's kind of the joke of the government worker mentality.
Okay.
But out of state, I don't get that.
Yeah.
And just some of the states we work in,
Sunbelt,
I find
yeah.
they show up and they're happy to see you, and they've gone out of their way to help you, and they try to roll the red carpet. And the truth is, there's more money to be made here, but it's a less stress over there.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, for the people that say, well, all the opportunities are gone now because everything changed, and that's not true. They're still there. You may have to do a little more than they used to do in the past, but it's still plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's all relative, right? When you look at like, okay, how things used to be. Yeah, 20 years ago, anywhere, 20 years ago, things were different.
Yeah.
No matter what you were doing. I'm sure in any industry, it was all different. So now, things are going to change, or things have changed, but
And you find a way to take that problem and turn it into, I've got the solution to that problem.
An opportunity, 100%.
We're going to take another short break. We'll be back with our final segment to wrap this up. We are talking to Mr. Damon Hart, also known as Mr. Foxy, and he is a real estate expert. And we're going to wrap up our conversation with him right after this short break, right here on Building Solid Foundations.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Tired of qualifying your leads and not getting the right clients for you? Join the finest women in real estate and learn how to attract the best clients and increase your referral network. Call now at 951-378-5316. 951-378-5316. Then become one of the finest women in real estate.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station, KCAA radio.com.
You're listening to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Ricky Perry, and we are affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and Sports, where we broadcast to over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. If you missed our previous shows, you can watch us on our streaming networks on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and the Android app.
Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are talking to Damon Hart, foxyhomebuyer.com. If you want to connect with him, foxyhomebuyer.com. You can email him at damon@foxyhomebuyer.com. That's Foxy with one X, Foxy, homebuyer.com. If you want to call him, he's at 813-413-7929, 813-413-7929. Why would you call him? Because he knows what he's doing when it comes to real estate. And he can talk to you about things like wholesaling and residential real estate and how to talk through terms. And he's going to share with us what he thinks is probably advice that you need to know about real estate right now.
Yeah. So thanks for the segue. I would say number one, right? Here's the big takeaway for today. Whether it's real estate business, and it's for my entrepreneurs, real estate business, or someone just wanting to get into business, I'm going to say the biggest thing I've discovered over the last 10 years is credit. Okay.
Credit history, credit score.
Credit. Now, not just personal credit. It's the business credit that people just underestimate. At least I did. And what I mean by that is like, look, did you know that your dad's a veteran, right? Mm-hmm. Did you know the Navy Federal Credit Union? You ever heard of them?
I know them, yeah.
Right. Navy Federal, probably one of the biggest credit unions, no, not probably, the biggest federal credit union in the whole United States. And the only way that you can get in is being a vet. Now, they also are also one of the only credit unions that give out tremendous amounts of business credit. So what does that mean? For those entrepreneurs that want to get started and they think like, oh, I got to bootstrap this thing. Remember, like you said, starting doing it all by yourself. Yeah. No, you have financing and money behind you to do it. Now it's being practical. What's number one reason why most businesses fail?
Capital.
Under capital, exactly. So having business credit allows you to.
Here's another piece of that too. If you qualify for that, that means you're a veteran. But that also means for certain types of businesses, you can file to become a veteran business enterprise, which gives you other great benefits.
Absolutely.
It opens up small business loans and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. And even if you're doing contracting, it'll open up preferential contracting treatment from government agencies.
Sure. So I'm saying almost the same thing, because I think just looking back, even in real estate, I hear a lot of folks want to get started in real estate, but we underestimate the need. It's like, okay, I can do it without my cash. I can do it without credit. Yes, you can. I can also brush my teeth with my finger. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's the best
hard way.
to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You want to have credit. You want to have leverage. You want to have.
So what do you say to people that say, okay, personal credit, but I don't have a business?
I'm going to say start one.
Exactly. Okay. So if you're going to be into real estate investing, and I've always told people this, do not be a real estate investor. Be a real estate investing business.
100%.
Because there are all kinds of tax ramifications on that, and all kinds of other stuff that you've got to talk to your accountant about it. And,
sure.
But yeah, find out what kind of business and what kind of entity should I form. Should I be a LLC? Should I be an S corp? Should I be a C corp? Should I be a REIT? Should I be whatever? Right.
Right.
Figure that stuff out. Talk to your experts. I always. Again, don't do it by yourself.
Yeah, don't do it by yourself.
You have an attorney, you have an accountant. I've heard people have asked the question, well, I don't have a lot of money, so can I just do the taxes myself, and I don't really need an attorney. I can't afford that. I always say, if you can't afford that, you can't afford to get to step one.
Right.
You need to have the right expertise to set it up right.
Yeah.
So get it done right. And so you're absolutely right. Start your real estate business. Even it's as simple as filing an LLC or something.
100%. And I give this advice to people that are even W-2 employees, right? Because back in 2018, with the Jobs Act, right, it really made it difficult for solo entrepreneurs. Like people used to be able to write off whatever.
Yep.
Right? You can't do that now. So if you have a side hustle, what it does very basically is it gives you access to two things. Number one, you get access to write-offs that you don't have anymore.
As long as you're routed through the business.
Correct.
And you can justify that it's business related.
We're not giving tax advice.
So you got to buy a
100%.
new laptop. Guess what? You can use that for business use. That's a business expense.
Exactly.
And that just reduced your taxable income.
Right. So that gets you started. And of course, right, you're going to go and ask a professional for what the specifics are, but at least it's getting you on the map. Second thing it gets you on, if you structure it right, it gets you on the radar of lenders. And that's what you want to be. You want to be lendable. Mm-hmm. You want to get out and you want to have access to that kind of capital, because let's face it, at some point, if you are to grow this enterprise and get to the point where you're doing transactions, it never hurts to have extra money.
That's right.
And that's where I think that's the best advice I would give somebody looking into the space now in any business, especially real estate. You got to get business credit. It's the way that you're gonna be able to scale and prosper.
Okay. So get business credit, and you do that by becoming a business. So
place to start.
Yeah, and it's not hard to do that. So a lot of people get stumped. I don't know who to go to. You honestly, forming an LLC is Google. It's the California Secretary of State if you're in California.
Yeah.
In some states, it's Department of Corporations like Arizona. So you just Google it and find out who it is you file with. It's usually a form you download and you fill out, and you pay somewhere between $50 and $150 depending on the state to file the thing.
Sure.
Maybe there's a second form to fill out with some other information or something. And then in California, they're going to bill you within a few months for $800 for the privilege of having an LLC in California. Most states don't do that, but California does. Okay, so that's an investment. So you figure for under $1,000, you can form a business.
Right.
And then $10 at Vistaprint for some business cards, right? And you're good to go, right? And you can go get, put up a landing page website.
Right,
you can do those for free, Wix, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
You can do that stuff.
Sure.
actually, if you join like some of the real estate investor associations, one of the benefits is they'll give you a website that you can fill out and use, and that's part of your benefits.
Right.
And those are cheap dates also. Those are very low dues to be in those clubs. And guess who you meet there? Lenders, real estate agents, sellers, private lenders, title people. You meet everybody there, right? All those people doing all kinds of different stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's excellent advice. All right. So the rumor is that the real estate market is dead. I have not seen that at all. And so we don't have time to get into all that. I just want to throw out people, when we're talking about, don't think you can't do this, don't think there's no opportunity, and don't think that it's a bad time in the market to get going. Real estate good in every kind of market, depending what you do.
Correct. And the time is always now.
Time is always now.
N-O-W.
What's the old Chinese proverb? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. All right, get started. So we're going to have to sign off with that. Thank you, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, for being on my show today. Again, Damon at foxyhomebuyer.com. Get hold of him, talk with him, pick his brain, ask him some questions, see if there's anything he can teach you. He's out there working in the business. He's an expert, and he likes to help other people get it done. So contact him. This is Building Solid Foundations. We're on every week right here on KCAA. If you miss us, go to our streaming platforms, the Building Solid Foundations channel, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, or on Android, or you can catch us on your favorite podcast platform. We're probably on it. We're on a couple dozen of them. And until next week, go do something different this week.
NBC News Radio